Coach, so day three, what did it bring you and what were some of the focuses of today's training camp?
Well, I think you guys got to see a lot of it out there. The energy in the building. Today was more of a conditioner thinking game, understanding how we're going to initiate our offense, different guys that can handle the basketball, and being able to get us into our sets right away. So basically taking ownership of our offense and making sure that we're getting everybody on the same page.
Along those lines, we've seen that, Kenny and Corey are great communicators. Have you seen that manifest itself in the training camp setting?
Well, that's been it. You have times within our situations where, KCP will go over to Jet, talk about a certain alignment. Gary comes over to KCP. They talk about different areas in which they need to see on the floor, getting the spacing on the opposite side of the basketball. And they've been fantastic communicating to each other with that.
Kenny said Monday that the opportunity to transition really kind of excited him about this offense. Is that something you guys want to emphasize as you're running it a little bit more?
That was the back end of our practice today, was focusing on the running game. So we're trying to combination both of those things together, or combine those things both together, is the ability to run but have the right proper spacing. And these guys are doing a great job picking that up, communicating where they're supposed to be on the floor, because that's going to be at a high clip for us. Being able to communicate on the fly and understand how to read and feel the game.
You had Corey, you had Kenny. How valuable is Gary Harris returning?
I cannot say enough about how great Gary Harris is for this group. He is a selfless and a quiet leader. He does it in subtle ways, so there'll be opportunities for him. He's talking to guys in the locker room, the experience that he had, because he's been here from the beginning, and he's watched the process of us growing and building and going, and he's done such a tremendous job with this group, and being able to be selfless in that regard, no matter what the situation is, he's ready to step into.
You sort of talked about it on media day, with Jaylen taking more of responsibility on offense. You mentioned working on initiating the offense.
Yeah.
How was Jaylen doing with that?
That was it. Jaylen played quarterback in high school, so I think that's a big portion of it. He's able to set the table. We did that as one of our initial drills, was, get the football out. Tell me what you see as a quarterback. And he did a phenomenal job of getting guys in the right spacing, putting them in the right spots to be able to see where we have to execute on our offensive end.
Jaylen on media day said that when that opportunity first came up, when he first entered the NBA, it wasn't something that he was necessarily ready for. How have you kind of seen him progress and keeping his comfort on the ball?
He's grown so much, and I think it's shown. Today in practice was another prime example of that. But overall, just his ability, he and I sat down before practice and watched some film, watched some clips, and I just wanted to get his feel, his thoughts, because he does such a great job of explaining the game. But again, when you're out there, him and I being on the same page and one accord, just as much as with the teammates, is going to be so important. And he does a great job of explaining it, seeing it, and understanding the things that he's observing on the court.
How do you want to see now that you're kind of working on layering in some offense, what do you want to see? How do you want to see the offense evolve this year? I mean, obviously, maybe the obvious, like score more points, more efficient.
Yeah.
But how do you want to see the offense?
Well, you hit it on the head, score more points. But there's ways to do it, and there's ways in which we've talked about it. It's one turnover less, but those turnovers were occurring because of our spacing. So now we've got to clean up the spacing. Once guys understand where they are on the floor, they know the passes they can make, they know the right reads to find, and that's what we constantly work on. We do decision-making drills as much as possible so these guys can really feel exactly what's happening real time.
With Jet, is there something in particular you think he's much better at now than last season?
The great part about Jet, and we were just talking about how some of the guys have been grabbing him to help him, speed up the game, and so he can see it a lot better. Kenny being one of them, Gary being another one, helping him slow down the game as he sees it. But for him, I think it just continues to be that. How can he slow the game down and read as he's making decisions when the ball hits his hands?
So it's only been a couple days. How have you liked the intensity of the last couple days?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, yesterday's practice was great. Loose ball, guys are diving on the floor. Jet and Jaylen diving on the floor for basketball. Guys sprinting, guy falls down, they're helping each other up. I mean, that's the energy, the camaraderie, the chemistry that we keep talking about building, and they're doing it every single day.
Looked like at the end of the practice there, you guys had a little bit of a shooting competition. I know obviously it's early in the process of camp, but just how did some of those competitions maybe, kind of invite the competition in?
Well, when we talk about competing, it's not just always necessarily when you're playing a scrimmage or you're playing one-on-one or two-on-two. Everything that you do has to find a way to be about a competitive nature to you. And I think what you saw last with that was the shooting competition, was that guys found a way to get competitive. You concentrate a little bit differently on your shots when you have something on the line. And I think these guys are grasping that.
Who won?
Our G League guys. guys that were signing in late.
Third day of training camp. How's it gone for you so far, and what are some of the areas you guys have focused on?
It's going well. Today we were focusing on our defense, just having this tight shell, and some of our principles on defense. And then we spent some time the first couple of days talking about the offense, but definitely learning how to play together more and more each day, and just getting our defensive principles down for sure.
You know, KCP and Corey are known as two veterans and good communicators. How have you seen that manifest itself on the court in training camp so far?
I mean, both of them have been on championship teams, so they both know what it takes to get there. So just talking about camaraderie and stuff you probably wouldn't know. It's just they've been giving us some good stuff like that.
How have the first 3 days felt different for you than the first 3 days last year?
Everything feels a little slower. You know, I feel like I know the system a little bit better, obviously just having a year under my belt. But yeah, it's a little bit slower. It's a lot slower, yeah, a lot slower.
Dan asked you about Kenny and Corey, but to have Gary back as well, how valuable is he for you?
Super valuable, you know. He's another guy who's been in the league a long time, and he knows a lot of the ins and outs, especially defensively. You know, he's a lockdown defender, so he gives me a lot of help on the defensive side, for sure.
Small talk a little bit about how he anticipates the spacing for your guys' group being a little bit different this year and how you guys focused on that. Is this going into your second year? How have you kind of seen that be different so far?
For sure. I mean, we got a lot of talented guys who can get downhill, so we've been emphasizing our spacing, and I think it just helps all our players. You know, we got a lot of guys who can break their man down and get to the paint. So I think for myself, Jaylen, Paulo, Franz, everybody really, I think it's just I don't know, it's helping us get down to the paint more often and easier without going through too many obstacles.
How do you see this team's offense evolving this year through the first 3 days of camp so far?
I mean, everybody's getting better. Everybody's worked on their game a lot this summer. So obviously we got all better players coming back, and you know, with the spacing, it's allowing us to get downhill and use our size and just be who we are as players.
Are you seeing the games that you felt you wanted to make? I mean, so you wanted to be able to get downhill more, show some of that playmaking. Are you starting to see some of that come through here?
For sure, yeah. I mean, when the spacing is implemented like this, it makes it just easier for guys like myself to get downhill, especially playing with a full head of steam. So definitely improvements there for sure. And I guess we'll just look to keep doing that.
You know, this team was one of the best defensive teams in the league last year. Is it hard to judge where the offense is at because you guys are such a good defensive team sometimes?
I mean, yeah. You know, we always compete in here, and knowing each other's plays makes it a little easier on the defense. But I don't know. Our defense looks sharp, but offense is coming along too for sure.
Coach Mosley talked a lot about the competition for the first 2 days of training camp. How have you felt that so far?
I mean, competition's high. You know, everybody's in here fighting for something they think they deserve. So, you know, we're playing super hard, communicating, just making each other better every day. So, it's 3 days of making each other better for sure.
Your size obviously offers you a lot of positional versatility, whether it's on the ball or in a more of a wing role. How comfortable are you in that role?
Offensively, you asking?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm comfortable to do both. You know, last year was really my first year playing where I did, so I feel like I learned a lot, and I think that's valuable when playing on a team with so many good players like this. So obviously comfortable on the ball, that's what I know, what I'm used to, but for sure got a little bit of the off the ball down, I feel like last year, for sure.
Camp, what stood out to you? What are some of the areas that you guys have worked on?
And just improving our offense. I think that's been one of the bigger things for us going into this year. You know, we weren't the best offensive team. You know, defensively, we just sharpening the tools even more. We was a very good defensive team last year, so just continuing to build on that. You know, with a couple new faces, making sure they're hip to what's going on. Even though guys like KCP take a lot of pride on defensive end, so it wasn't much explaining we had to do for him. He understands what it takes on the defensive end and offensive end. So yeah, just sharpening the tools on both ends of the floor.
For guys like Kenny and Kojo, vets, have you seen their communication stand out even early in training camp?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Kay has done a phenomenal job, even with the starting group, of just keeping us focused on what needs to be done each possession on the offensive end. Things that he sees, things that he feels like will be our superpower. the uniqueness of this team, of everyone being able to create for one another, just being really good with the spacing, things like that. Like that's kind of what he's been coaching us up on. And on the defensive end, he understands. He was one of the best defensive teams in the league last year. So, he just continued to just give us some of his knowledge and just add to the pot that we already started.
It's only been a few days, but him and Jaylen.
That was a good job keeping it straight.
Yeah, I know. He almost got me at first.
How to learn from your vets.
Yeah, thanks.
Just him and Jaylen, Kenny and Jaylen, and that. What has stood out to you just in a few days?
Say it one more time.
On defense, Jaylen and Kenny, just how what has stood out to you about them?
I feel sorry for any ones or twos they're going against those two this year. Those guys are so locked in on defensive end. They're going to challenge you. Whether they're fresh, whether they're tired, they take a lot of pride on that defensive end, which is rare to find in this league. Like I said, I just feel sorry for a lot of ones and twos who are out the league who got to deal with that night in and night out.
You mentioned the other day, you wanted to be healthy. You obviously had the injury that you're working through this offseason. How is the hand feeling for the first 3 days of practice? Is it something that you still think about? I know you're wearing that wrap on. You saw you wearing that wrap the other days.
No, I mean I feel good. It's more of a protective thing, for them. Since I've broken it before, they're just a lot more aware of it now. But with the hardware that's in there, I think it's going to take a lot more than someone slap my hand to break it now. So I feel really good. I've been taking hits on it. It's not bothering me at all. So I feel pretty good.
You mentioned you wanted to do more to make sure that you could get through the season. Are you feeling those effects? It's just 3 days in, obviously. Yeah. But are you feeling those effects? Are you feeling that confidence kind of returning?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've taken time to build up my own personal staff off the court. Guys that are just going to help me keep my body, my mental, everything on track throughout the season. So I feel very confident going into this year. I've invested into my health, my mental health, a lot of things. So I feel good. Like I'm going to trust that the people I've chosen to help me in that front is going to do what they need to do to help me play all 82 of the regular season.
Right here.
Okay.
I got a question about Rook. What you think about Rook?
I said something about you last time I was talking to media. He's well ahead of what normal rooks go through. He understands what it takes to win. In my opinion, he reminds me a lot of Franz. So I told him, just continue to copy his game, do everything that he does from what he eats every day to when he gets in the gym. Just copy him. And I promise you're going to be one of the highest paid guys in this league.